in December, from 17 to 19 December on the same location at Bharat Mandapam, advancing the WHO Global Strategy for Traditional Medicine 2534. We all know that digital health is central to building accessible healthcare systems. Through initiatives like the Ayush Grid, eSanjeevani, WHO M-Yoga application, the Namaste portal, and so many more. We have 21 such products. We are enhancing transparency, accessibility, and efficacy. The My Ayush Integrated Services portal, which is in beta version now, and we are developing a master application through this portal, now serves as a digital backbone integrating data, AI-enabled services, and citizen interfaces. Partnerships with BITS Pilani and IIT Jodhpur Center of Excellence in Ayurtech are developing AI tools for Ayurvedic research and education. We also partnership with Baisag N, who has developed PM Gati Shakti platform, and Baisag N is helping us to develop this Ayush Grid architecture. Ministry is also co-leading the global initiative on AI for health with WHO, ITU, and WIPO, helping shape global standards for the responsible use of AI in traditional medicine. Technology-led medicine ensures last-mile delivery, making healthcare affordable, inclusive, and future-ready. A key development that I'm happy to share is the inclusion of Ayush drugs and medical devices under the promotion of research and innovation in pharma med sector scheme. We know this scheme as a PRIP scheme. It is launched by Department of Pharmaceuticals, and inclusion of Ayush is a significant milestone. With an outlay of rupees 5,000 crore, this initiative opens immense opportunities for Ayush-based startups, researchers, and industries to scale innovation, R&D, and product development. I encourage all stakeholders to actively engage with this initiative to strengthen India's medtech and innovation landscape in health sector. As we move forward Vision 2047, our focus must remain on uniting the strengths of government, academia, and industry to create a healthcare ecosystem that is affordable, technology-driven, and globally respected, replicable also. Together, let us ensure that India leads the world not only in innovation, but also in compassion, accessibility, and holistic well-being. Thank you. Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan, Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for such an encouraging and inspiring talk. I would now request co-chair of the session, Dr. Rajiv Bahl, to give his overview of the activities of DHR and ICMR towards health and medical technologies. Dr. Bahl is a distinguished physician scientist specializing in pediatrics and public health. He is the Secretary of the Department of Health Research and the Director General of ICMR. Dr. Bahl held the position of Head of Research on Maternal, Newborn, Child and Adolescent Health at the World Health Organization, Geneva from 2013 to 2022, and was responsible for newborn and child health research at WHO from 2003 to 2012. He has significantly influenced health policies both in India and globally. His innovative research, particularly in maternal and child health, has led to groundbreaking advancements, saving over 1 million lives annually through initiatives like early breastfeeding and effective treatment protocols. As the leader of DHR and ICMR, Dr. Bahl has ensured end-to-end integration from discovery, development, validation, and commercialization through institutions, creating institutions like Patent Mitra, MedTech Mitra, and Intent Network. And we are immensely grateful for this whole ecosystem that has been created. Sir, it is all yours.
Respected Vaidya Kutecha ji, other co-panelists, all the distinguished delegates who are here today in this hall, it gives me great pleasure to talk a little bit about the science and technology and health-related medical and health technologies and the ecosystem in India fostered by the Government of India. So various departments in the government are working together very closely in order to foster this system. I'll start with the Department of Biotechnology and highlight a couple of things about each department and how this is helping the country in getting indigenous, affordable technologies, not only for our country, but also in the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for the rest of the world. The Department of Biotechnology, through BIRAC, largely which is a catalyst to support early stage innovation and commercialization, has been supporting biotechnology development, medical technology development in the country through the National Biopharma Mission and BioE3 policy that has been recently launched. The department will continue to support the academia as well as the industry to support medical technologies. And just to mention that Mission COVID Suraksha was a watershed in India's technology development, vaccine development, which showed that how quickly we were able to get vaccines on so many platforms in India. You heard yesterday about the Department of Science and Technology's R&D scheme for industry. And this is the Honorable Prime Minister in this very venue launched this 1 lakh crore scheme. The idea of which is to now bring industry in R&D by giving them soft loans in which they can then do not only basic research and development, but rather take the basic research and development done by academia and national labs and the various governments and the other schemes to products that are available to the people. And this scheme, we believe, along with the Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which has also recently been launched and has started working and has a capital of 15,000 crore rupees, is an added bonus to what was already occurring before. And we believe that this will be a game changer for Indian science and technology, and in particular the health technologies, because a large part of this scheme will also be towards that. I would like to mention CSIR in the role of, they have several institutions working on health, working on genetics, working on particularly mentioning active pharmaceutical ingredients for affordable healthcare. Similarly, Department of Pharmaceuticals has recently launched a PRIP scheme, which is also a scheme for industry for 4,250 crores or about 500 million US dollars. But this one is only for pharma and medtech. And the scheme is currently on. It will give 35% to 50% of the investment in R&D projects, largely both early stage and late stage projects. Finally, I'd like to talk a couple of things about ICMR and the Department of Health Research. What we have done in the Department of Health Research to foster research and development starts with funding, increased research funding for extramural, not only intramural, but for all the different institutions related to health in the country, and about 50% of all those funding is for development of medical technologies, the goal of which is either indigenous, new innovative technologies, or technologies that will make become affordable and be 1/10 the price of what it is of imported technologies. We have also launched Patent Mitra and MedTech Mitra as very important schemes to handhold people in academia who develop IP, people in industry who develop IP so that they can patent them, and technology transfer between academia and industry. MedTech Mitra serves to handhold various innovators and make sure that whatever help they require, whether it is at the stage of prototype development, whether it is the stage of regulatory strategy and applying for regulatory approvals, whether it is for preclinical or clinical research, or after approval, it is procurement, helping their procurement through cost effectiveness, through health technology assessment. All that help is made available to the innovators through this open portal and this MedTech Mitra scheme. So what I would like to end by saying is, this is a whole of government approach, including a lot of things I have not said about Ayush, because our chairperson just mentioned all the collaborative work on integrative care. But as a whole, the government is committed and working proactively to promote innovation, to promote indigenous development of vaccines, diagnostics, devices, and therapeutics in this country, both biological and chemical. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for elaborating for all of us the integrative effort of Government of India towards better healthcare. I would now request our keynote speaker, the current director of the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, Dr. Shiv Kumar Sareen, to present his keynote address titled Fatty Liver Disease Demands Engineering Healthcare. Dr. Sareen is a distinguished
I think we can skip that because I delayed everybody. My apologies.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to of the visionaries, Vedji and Dr. Bahal, all my colleagues. Thank you for inviting me. All the vision and the money is available. Today I thought I will try and convert each one of you my way of looking at science. फिर भी एक दो लाइनें हिंदी में पहले बोल दो नीरज की. इतना दानी नहीं समय कि हर गमले में फूल खिला दे. इतना दानी नहीं समय कि हर गमले में फूल खिला दे. पर अब आप हर गमले में फूल खिलाएं, इसलिए मैं ये बता रहा हूँ. I want you to look at the way things are. These are my questions and I want you to have these as your questions. Now onwards, try and search the answers. I am 35. I was overweight, but I got diabetes. Why me? I am 25, lean, but have high BP. आपको कोई पड़ोसी दोस्त हो, अपने आप में हो, please remember these questions. Each one represents millions. I am 30, I have gallstones. My mother also has gallstones. My daughter is 18. She has polycystic ovary syndrome. Why? Can she marry and have children? I am fat due to thyroid. आप लोग सब जानते हैं ना सर मोटा हूँ सर थायराइड गड़बड़ था. True or false? I have severe acidity, stress, food and genes. I am 45, diabetic, high cholesterol. Doctor says no alcohol. I go to gym, eat less, but I can't lose weight. जान जाए पर वजन न जाए. My mother has breast cancer. I am heavy. Can I? Will I? I have fatty liver. I have SGPT. I am very worried. I feel tired by 5 p.m. and sleepy. अभी 5 बजा नहीं वैसे. I snore, decrease libido, family is unhappy. All these answers lie in metabolic factory, your liver. But we don't know the answers. And I'm trying to share very briefly and then I'll come to the technical parts. This you might have heard from me and many other forum. Liver, pitta, your whole energy is bile. There are 2 circulations, blood and the bile. Bile intestine to liver, liver to intestine. Digestion, your immunity, detoxification, major hormones. Most important is sugar and fat control. Stores fat. And if you donate liver, which you should before you die, please vote for donation because your donation will make your liver regenerate. Very briefly, this is a healthy liver with less than 5% of fat, and this man has liver. This is a liver biopsy which shows you liver in cords, simple. And he has a blood sugar of 95 and uses 2 units insulin. Here is another person whose liver has about 10% or more fat. Each cell is using 20 units insulin to make the blood sugar 90. 10 times more insulin is produced by pancreas for the fat in the liver. Please understand. And this leads to gradual exhaustion of pancreas and development of diabetes. Now we go to the other journey. Fat in the liver is like inflammation. It leads to hepatitis, the fat-induced liver scarring. This is read by a simple blood test of 20 rupees. All this will come when we come to developing tools. So a high SGPT normal should be less than 20. If you have 80, you have 7 times higher risk of cardiac death, early cardiac death. Fibrosis, cirrhosis, you have scarring of the liver, and maybe 10% may develop liver cancer, which is the fastest growing cancer, and 39% of all liver cancers are in diabetics. So I'm trying to connect diabetes, trying to connect cancer and fibrosis, and many of these need liver transplant. So I told you diabetes and its major origin. But if you have high fat in the liver, it spills into blood. You have high cholesterol, triglyceride, which deposits on arteries, and you get blood pressure, heart, kidney disease, bone, cancers, stroke, gallstone. So do you agree with me this is a top public health problem? Any of those who have high blood pressure can raise hands, high BP? थोड़े थोड़े, कोई वो इंश्योरेंस वाला नहीं है. You can raise hands. All right. So diabetes, blood pressure are a major problem. And we spend all the time, India is diabetes capital. Let me show you what's going to happen. If you have fat in the liver, you will probably protect not to get diabetes. 15 years to 20 years ago, blood pressure, all NCDs. So please make this effort from today and ask questions. If each one of you works on this, we actually can make our lives and family lives better. So how to know fatty liver early and its progression? All startups start. How to know fatty liver early enough? In utero, within first month of birth, first 6 months of birth, if a baby is fed the juice, the canal juice, the prepared juice between first month and 6 months, By the end of 5 years, the baby has fatty liver. Enough of data. So who will develop? All right. So this is the data from UK Biobank. I hope we get a huge Indian biobank. So someone who is overweight or obese will have fat in the liver and a high SGPT or ALT, single 20 rupees marker. Then you have 4 times more diabetes. 10 साल का बच्चा है, 20 साल तक का होगा, he has 4 times higher risk of diabetes, high lipids, cancers, the fat around the heart with heart disease, stroke, dementia, hypertension, Alzheimer's, low testosterone. This covers the spectrum from birth till the end of our journey. And to a very large extent, this is related to fat in the liver. So do I have fatty liver? 1 in 3 Indians, maybe 30 to 40 crores have fatty liver. So please, you can take this picture with you. Anybody who has overweight, BMI more than 23, who has probably diabetes or pre-diabetes, all of them will have fatty liver. But most important is the central part, and I'll show you. Waist above 80 for females and males above 90. And where do you see the waist? It is around this area. A high BP, TG, triglyceride, pre-diabetic status, and a family history. Parents have obesity, diabetes, BP, heart, kidney or liver disease, cancers, polycystic ovary. You are produced as a manufacturing defect. And don't manufacture anymore if you are defective. Who will develop? Who will develop non-communicable disease? I struggle every day. And I'll share some stories if time permits. Who will develop cancer? It's a huge, Nature Science paper from June to September this year. One pathway takes you to the heart disease, one takes you to the liver, there are 7 subtypes of genes now available. So India has close to maybe close to 10 million diabetics. 100 million diabetics, 10 crore. 8 out of 10 diabetics will have fatty liver, 80 million. And 2 will develop cirrhosis of liver, 20 million. 2 crore को liver का cirrhosis हो सकता है, expected. How to find out? Big challenge. Each startup can start on a journey where you protect our population. Now this is a very important slide. Try to make peace with my thinking. Here is a young boy, 30-year male, who has BMI of 20, here is the BMI, 26 BMI. तो ज़्यादा 25 तक कहते हैं ठीक ठाक. But his percentage body fat is 39% when it should be just about 20%. देखने में गड़बड़ नहीं है, पर सारी fat उसकी कहाँ है? So now I'll show you he doesn't have muscles. This lower one shows you muscles. The left leg, right leg, कहीं muscles ही नहीं. He needs about maybe 7 kilograms of muscle and he has to lose about 16 kilograms of fat. But देखने में ठीक है. This score should be above 80, muscle versus fat. And this is about the visceral obesity. Here, this part. Now this part should be less than 100. So all the bad fat is there. Now this machine is expensive. Village wale ke paas kahan se aayegi? Can we develop something by looking at a guy who walks through this corridor and say, "Bhai tu gadbad hai"? In children, 12.5 million Indian children are obese as of now, 21. 3.5% are less than 5 years. To give you this dictum, 10-year-old obese child, his heart has worked as if the heart is 40-year-old. मतलब वो overweight है बेचारा, heart क्या करेगा? चढ़ाता जाएगा, bump करेगा. Now, what age should we start screening? I may say 10 years, someone will say 30 years. Till we have hard data and how to collect that hard data, we had some support from Dr. Bell for doing this work, but this should be extensively done. What age should the general population start get screening? So now these are the three important parts. Each one needs Indian startups. How to assess fat in the liver? Just to give an idea, liver has fat, heart has fat, brain has fat, lungs have fat. You can't measure those areas, but liver fat is very easy to measure. So you measure by ultrasound, by another type of ultrasound, or by MRI, PDFF, which is very expensive. Inflammation, simple blood test, ALT, but high ALT is bad, normal is not bad, and some blood markers. And fibrosis, again, liver stiffness, above 8 is bad. The blood tests are not so effective. So this is the way we screen today. Anybody who has come, diabetes, भाई तू इधर आ जा, ब्लड प्रेशर है इधर आ जा. अब रहे बाकी के लोग जो शराब भी नहीं पीते, उन लोगों में अगर प्लेटलेट्स कम हैं, एज ज़्यादा है, AST blood test है, ALT blood test है. This is FIB4 is reliable in about 60 to 70%. And if you have liver stiffness above 8, you need a liver biopsy. These are global recommendations. But biopsy से तो सब डरते हैं, कोई नहीं चाहता. This is the fibroscan which costs about 1 crore. So it sends low frequency ultrasound. The sound goes in and comes back. If it comes faster, liver is hard. So liver is soft when it is up to 6, and if it is above 8, grade 2 fibrosis, all the risk of cancer and everything come. This is fat. If it is above 238, you are having more fat, and above 290 to aapka liver. Now you need fibroscan machines in India. Because today we don't do ultrasound, our first test for any general population, and this is now popular in France, is a fibroscan, liver fat, liver stiffness, and you go further. We need softwares, we need machines. Is any startup ready? I'll put little bit of my incentives as a technical person. पैसा नहीं है, but दिमाग से कर सकते हैं. Now the main topic is engineering healthcare. I have played before you what I as a doctor feel is the reality. 2 पेशेंट भर्ती हैं प्रोस्टेट कैंसर के, लिवर में मेटास्टेसिस है. 7-8 ब्रेस्ट कैंसर के, ब्रेस्ट कैंसर सर्जरी हो गई, बट नाउ दे हैव fluid in the abdomen because they have cirrhosis. If they had known 20 years ago that there is bad liver, breast cancer could have been prevented. With these data, which is now very solid all over the world, we went to the government of India and they were able to convince the ministry, and India became the first country to include fatty liver screening in 2021, make India the first country in 102 countries. The guidelines were revised in 24, and this is a journey which I want to share, especially with Dr. Bal and my dear friend Reggie. So 2023 we started, we covered 8 states by now, the guidelines. And June 1, Madhya Pradesh started screening, started with Swasth Yakrit. In 3 months they screened 11.8 million people. 1 करोड़ 18 लाख 3 महीने में स्क्रीन किए. कोई कर सकता है? Impossible. What did they do? They just taught the village lady to put 1 inch tape, 10 रुपए का, around the waist. Now see the beauty of this. Of 1 crore, whatever number, 18 lakhs, 17% of the female had a waist above 80. Now 23 and above BMI, Indian obese were 11%. Can you make sense out of this? 17% की वेस्ट ज़्यादा है, पर अगर हम BMI से जाते तो 11% ज़्यादा है. तो वो 6% कौन है? They are normal BMI but bad fat in this. These are called unhealthy leans these are people who we would not have picked up. An inchy tape can pick up. A weighing scale can pick up 6% of lean, unhealthy, lean fatty liver patient. These are the patients who would die. सर 25 साल का था, चलता फिरता था, पतला दुबला था, गुड़क गया. This is that group of 6% which we would have missed. Now what we need in engineering is at what age is a good waist. 80 is not good for everyone. We have no data and we need much more data on waist, hip and probably BMI. The Indian BMI now is currently recommended to be 19.7 because Indians even at 23 are very vulnerable to diseases. I'm trying to convince you that based on this 3 million Korean studies of 3 million people who were studied for 5 years, that by decreasing fatty liver, we reduce diabetes, stroke, heart disease, and most important, death. Now the question is, how do you reduce? What are the interventions? How effective they are? Ayush has so many very interesting interventions which will make you healthy, make your liver to lose fat and maybe weight. And they're natural. And I can tell you there is a very good substitute for salt called I'm forgetting the name. There is a doctor solution, Robert solution or something, which has same taste but without salt, without sodium. We need to find out, Veggie, what are those plants which can give you health and which can also avoid things like salt, things like sodium or sugar, and they are good for us. We would like all those incentives that you have shown. I would like to join once again the Ayush Institute and learn how the natural drugs work. So the action points, the DG has also said, but my action points are how to connect people. So today I am showing you that each one of you will help in identifying people, waist and weight. Also identify when do they develop comorbid risks. Fatty liver, obesity is a stigma. Prevent your people. Don't raise fingers on them. They are born like that. And we have to have simple education. We also have whole of society approach and we have to protect our next generation. Each of the startups must now define, okay, you are PNPLA3 positive, you are TM6 positive, you are ApoB positive, you are PCSK9 positive, तो तुम्हारा तो LDL ज़्यादा होगा. Let us follow them. So in the interest of time, I will just say our studies now should be gene and their function-based studies. Policy, we have one of the finest leaders, and actually they have helped integrating it into national programs. I would like this to be included into all cancers programs. I would like ICMR, Ayush, DST, DBT to invest into holistic, not just a disease, a holistic programs called the umbrella studies. ये दवाई से ये ठीक हो सकता है. That might be a better approach. Of course, we have sugar, oil, and laws and warnings. I would like all physicians, I am told there are many, to join engineers. I am told there are many engineers from IIT to join physicians, so we can plan implementation. We need good drugs at low cost. We propose to the government a national fatty liver reduction initiative with a target that 50% reduction in fatty liver by 2047 to decrease NCD. This is the current level. All the community workers, village workers have started using inchy tapes and weighing scales. They will refer the patients to the next level, then to the next level. And what we want to say is that the current approach is 90% of our money goes into cancers, buildings, high-fly, fourth generation setups, tertiary care setups. We want this to be changed in next 20 years, that most money thinking startups are working on preventive health, to prevent development of multiple non-communicable diseases. My carry-home message is engineering the health together. Let us all pledge today, whether it is fatty liver, just because of my limited knowledge, but you can find ways. I tried to educate each one of you to ask questions. क्यों diabetes है? क्यों blood pressure है? मुझे क्यों हुआ? So each one may be, so we can go from general medicine to maybe precision medicine to finally personalized medicine for each of you. I would suggest as of now to screen and self-test yourself. Stratify by simple large scanning tools, protect the next generation, start in schools. So SMILES is a program, Stronger India, through million health educated students. We have launched it across all the Kendriya Vidyalayas and other. And I think, to me, if you look at the ball, the future of mankind would lie together in making everyone an investigator, not few of us. Each one of you, please answer questions, and maybe we will have new policies, new treatments coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sareen, for your invigorating talk. I would now request the next speaker, Dr. Gagandeep Kang, who is currently the Executive Director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Dr. Kang is a distinguished physician scientist specializing in health and medical technologies with a robust background in microbiology and public health. She has significantly advanced vaccine development and public health policy in India. Her leadership in creating WHO pre-qualified rotavirus vaccines and her role in building research capacity at the Translational Health Science and Technology Institute underscores her commitment to innovation in health. Dr. Kang will deliver her presentation on developing point-of-care diagnostics for public health use. Dr. Kang, it's all yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction and the invitation to be here. I think both the co-chairs' remarks as well as the keynote address have set up the stage beautifully for a talk that is about developing point-of-care diagnostics for public health use. Now, if we think about where India is today, we are changing, and if you have been engaged with the public health care system in India over the last decade, a lot has changed. In terms of the infrastructure that we have, the kinds of facilities that are being provided, all of these are truly building towards a system that allows for us to offer comprehensive primary health care as close to the community as possible. And in that endeavor to be able to deliver a continuum of care to patients, starting from primary care and going up to the highest levels of care, expanding diagnostics really plays a very important role. Now, obviously, if we want to be able to deliver care, we have to know what the problems are. And to know what the problems are, you need to have tests that are truly fit for purpose and can deliver results in a time that makes sense for the patient. To be able to do this, we require tests that fit into the way healthcare is delivered. And this offers for us many opportunities for innovation. Now, if we look at diagnostics in the continuum of care pathway, we have a structure that has been strengthened very recently that starts from village level, but then begins to go up into the kinds of facilities that are available. So you start with the ASHA worker, you move to the health and wellness centers, to the PHC or the urban PHC, and then to the CHC or the district hospital. And in each of these, different kinds of services are being offered. Since 2015, we have had a truly remarkable initiative in India, which is the Free Diagnostic Services Initiative. This started with just 7 tests and now has been truly scaled up. But if you go into the community and start to look for the availability of these tests, the quality of these tests, then it becomes a very real challenge to be able to match aspiration with reality. Recently, there has been a remarkable effort that was anchored by ICMR to be able to deliver on the next edition of the National Essential Diagnostics List. In the first list that was prepared, there was a lot of expertise that was brought to the table to think about what was needed to be there, but some of that was hard to deliver at the level that it was expected to perform. In the new recommendations, this has been significantly modified and now offers a clearer pathway for us to move ahead. Now, if you look at point-of-care testing, what does this really mean? It means that we are trying to change the game for patients so that they don't necessarily need to land up at a higher level of healthcare facility than can manage their illness. So the goal is really to bridge the gap between communities and healthcare facilities. And for that, we need to have rapid, accurate, and affordable testing in low-resource settings. Now, a low-resource setting does not necessarily mean a low-tech test, because frequently the ability to deliver easy testing actually requires higher levels of technology for us to develop the test. So, as examples, what are the kinds of things that we could think of screening at point of care? And I've given you examples here of both infectious diseases as well as chronic diseases, where we would like to decentralize both the initial diagnosis but also our ability to monitor. Now, if we look at the opportunities for innovation that are being leveraged to advance point of care in primary care, is really thinking about what are the technologies, what are the platforms, and what are the regulations and evaluations that are needed for public health use. I'm not going to walk you through all of the examples of these. I will just focus on the figure at the bottom, which is an example of using DNA origami to deliver a simple rapid diagnostic test in the form of a lateral flow immunoassay that allows you to have much greater sensitivity than current antibody-dependent LFAs offer. So this is just to show that complex technology can deliver a simple test. If we look at India, and we've heard references to what has been possible in India, I think India led the world in terms of COVID-19 testing to be able to deliver a test that ultimately, nowhere else in the world did you have a PCR test that could cost the government 12 rupees to purchase. It was only because India's companies and academic institutions and government came together to be able to deliver on both scale and cost. Now, this is important because scale and cost for India means actually scale and cost for the world. If we can harness the power of innovation that is available in India, I think we can really offer solutions to the world in terms of point-of-care diagnostics for primary care. There are examples of companies that are working already to do this. There are a couple here, like Molbio and Achira, but there are 100 other companies in the country that have the capacity to be able to deliver on these endeavors. So there are, I can give you examples again of many companies that we and others are working with. But essentially, if we look at what our landscape looks like, we actually have startups that have been able to harness technologies to develop first in the world indigenous diagnostic platforms. There are companies in India that absolutely understand our cost sensitivity, and that is critical for us to be able to be scaling at a level that allows us to get into primary care. And I think one of the things that COVID-19 also taught us is that whether we look at vaccines or diagnostics or therapeutics or devices, our companies have an increasing willingness to explore innovation and advanced technologies. Examples of companies that we can and are working with are here on these slides. And these are companies that are delivering now not only to India, but also to global markets. So I'd just like to end with saying that India for India really does mean India for the world. It's up to all of us to use the opportunities that exist and to our leaders to create the pathways that we need. Indian diagnostics need to be recognized for quality, affordability, and ease of use, and the generation of data for action based on the best available technologies. We've shown this during COVID. We need to continue to show this for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kang. I would now request Dr. Tanuja Nesari, the current director of Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, to deliver her talk titled Integration of Ayush with Technology, Way for a Healthy and Wealthy Nation by 2047. Professor Nesari is a distinguished expert in health and medical technologies, currently serving as the director of ITRA in Jamnagar. With over 30 years of experience, she has held significant positions, including former director of the All India Institute of Ayurveda, chief executive officer of the National Medicinal Plant Board. Her research focuses on medicinal plants, mental health, and non-communicable diseases. She has been instrumental in integrating Ayurveda with modern healthcare, leading numerous clinical research projects, and establishing international collaborations to enhance health technologies. Professor Nesari, please.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chairperson, Vaidya Rajesh Koteja ji, Secretary Ayush, Dr. Bahl ji, Dr. Bahl from DHR, Secretary DHR, esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Sarin sir, the colleague, Dr. Kang, Dr. Muralidharan, all the esteemed dignitaries sitting in this august auditorium, including Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, and all the colleagues from Ministry of Ayush and all other departments. It is an immense pleasure, pride, and honor for me to have been given this opportunity. Thanks to STIC, Dr. Sharda, and the organizers. I take this opportunity for sharing the vision of Ministry of Ayush and the Ayush, how Ayush can be integrated with the technology. As we say, tradition supported with the technology can make this science which is classical yet contemporary for everyone, and the way for a healthy and wealthy nation by 2047. As we understand the historical legacy, what we carry as the proud Indians, Bharatiyans, that the most ancient yet scientific treasure of medicine, 700 AD, it traveled from India. Ayush, Ayurveda, we are the first one, and then it traveled to Middle East, then to the West, and again from, as we say that it is experiential based science, but we need evidence based science. So it is coming back to us, having evidence based science coming back to us, but we are the most ancient yet scientific. We take this pride. And I mean to say it, because in the Golden Eagle, when we say that we are Vishwa Guru, and it is said that जहाँ हर डाल डाल पर सोने की चिड़िया करती है सवेरा, वो भारत देश है मेरा. The proud Indians, when we say, but India GDP varied between 25 to 30% of world total GDP, long back. And now in 24 and 25, we have 6.5 GDP. So can we come back? The answer is yes. If we integrate Ayurveda, all the medical sciences, all the science with the technology and healthcare technology, we can become the world healthcare leader, and also we can boost up the economy, because it is a soft strength of India and the greatest gift to the humanity. In the industrial growth and facilitation, when there was the Gayas, the WHO DG, in his presentation, he also mentioned the expansion of Ayush sector is giving wings to various avenues of investment. Many large entrepreneurs, tech companies, and medical centers across the globe are increasingly attracted it. And I think we are also leveraging this opportunity as a medtech, as ICMR is providing Anusandhan and many opportunities. Maybe we are progressing towards that. What is this greatest strength, Ayurveda, as a India's soft power and greatest soft strength, I can say, greatest gift to the humanity, because it is nation's pride. It is our own traditional system. We have the manpower because Ministry of Ayush, more than 700,000 registered practitioners we have. We have the health and wellness centers. So we have the domestic tourism, international tourism. We have international partnership, as we are present in 150 countries. We have the tourism, we have the business startups, and we have the industry also. We have FDI, and we are now talenting the young talents also through startup initiatives and various initiatives. And we also have the recently Ayurveda Ahar as our regulations to have the FPOs and many other attractions for the nutraceuticals also. What is more important is why we should have the pride and why should go, because it is rooted in our community. There is in spite of that, we have the regulatory policies and provisions through our ministry, and we can say that we can harmony with the conventional healthcare integration, as two co-chairs are sitting on the same dais and providing us ways for integration. With the evidence-based research in Ayurveda, we can definitely come out as a best healthcare leader. Ayurveda journey is not only from illness to wellness, but I say that it is journey of illness to wellness to happiness. So we really have to create the outcome measures for all those things for the healthy society with the personalized, preventive, predictive, participatory, and promotive approaches, as not precision to personalized medicine, because we have the Prakruti and we are also working to find out the molecular signatures for this Prakruti. And there are many opportunities as global healthcare market leadership. It is also proposed through that India's herbal medicine, nutraceutical, wellness medicine market is projected to reach 20 to 25 billion by 2047. As we are to the rural India. Rural entrepreneurship can achieve through the medicinal plants to the public healthcare sector and many PHI community health projects. The startups, young startups, digital health, personalized wellness, AI, dosha analysis, and as Sarin sir mentioned, we can have many startups, and we also have Anguli Praman sir in Charak Samhita, where it exactly measures the BMI and others. So maybe have various such type of startups in future. We have Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, research innovation, where digital technology, this Ayurtech can come up, public health and well-being can come up. We have medicinal plant sector through our NMPB, and we have NCISM academic reform, competency-based curriculum, where we can deliver the best doctors, which are need-based, practical, evidence-based we can do. What is our strength we can deliver is, the strength of the future is in integration. So we can collaborate with our strength in autoimmune, NCD, neurodegenerative, with the conventional medicine and come out as India, what we see in 2047 as integrated protocol, research-based, evidence-based, integrated protocol for the healthcare, not only one, but all. Together are leading the healthcare patient-centric integration. Through ITRA, which is INI of Ministry of Ayush, we have exactly the same integration at the science, at the technology with the conventional medicine. We are trying to create the evidence base to the science with many, many success stories, clinical, lab, molecular, preclinical, where that can be translated at the community. We are very fortunate to have Global Center of Traditional Medicine of WHO at Jamnagar, which is hosting, and the second summit is also being organized in the Bharat Mandapam in 17 to 19 December next month, where the strategic focus on evidence learning, data and analytics, sustainability, equity and innovation and technology to optimize the contribution of traditional medicine to global health and sustainable development. And we are really proud and to say that the Ministry of Ayush and Ayush is a co-partnering to all the activities of WHO under our visionary leadership. As keynote speaker mentioned, that we can be from precision to personalized medicine. I am very happy to share that through Ministry of Ayush, we are already working with Ayush Genomics, CSIR, with 3 Sutra, where the molecular signatures for all dosha prakrutis are being identified, and those are integrated with non-communicable through AYA, through ITRA, through NI. We have many projects where in diabetics, what are the signatures, and many other conditions are being understood. As we have the Pharmatech, as Secretary said, that MedTech policies are being declared, and we also see in 2047 novel drug delivery system, because Ayush card has, they are bitter and people are not bhagte hai usse, but we can have novel drug delivery system which are very practical, evidence-based, but true to our own science with nano formulations. Innovation significantly enhance the bioavailability, and we can, as Madam Kang said, what is done as India, it is done for the world. So we can come out with the nano medicine to the tradition. And through research, we are very fortunate, because doing clinical study, the ethics is a big issue in the medical college. But ICMR and Ministry of Ayush has come out as a policy for the ethics guideline, where it enables conducting clinical research in the allopathy setup as well as in all setup. Through that, we see many clinical study, R&Ds, many EMR, PHI schemes and collaborative research studies. I'm very happy to share that during COVID time, COVID was a blessing in disguise. And we could do many things, even the largest cohort study in public health, what IR and PHI through Ministry of Ayush, Bhushan sir witnesses is, that was a combo from molecular study, molecular signatures to whole system. That Ayu Raksha study with the PAC, that was published in Frontiers of Public Health. So we are creating the local solutions, and also recognition is achieved at the global level, so that even the whole system research is being with the systems approach is being addressed. Now the latest initiative, as Secretary told, to take it to further, because from plate, whatever we eat, that should be healthy. So we have Ayurveda Ahar regulations, and I'm sure that from every healthy diet, not Swiggy, Zomato, but we can get, with one click we can get Ayurveda Ahar. That is our further vision. With the digital pulse, as Nadi Tarangini is there, Nadi Pulse, all diagnostics, Madam said about the point of care devices, we have the vision to have all our diagnostic, Nadi, tongometer, and many other Ayurveda solutions, maybe patient-centric point of care devices with the digital app can be developed. Ministry has Ayush Grid as a IT backbone. In every sector, education, research, convergence, capacity building, drug media. So what we are now trying to have the AI layer to that. As Master Porter, as Secretary Sir already mentioned, My Ayush services, which is integrated. At one click, all the services are available on the mobile app for each and every, not Indians, but for everyone across the globe. That's the vision Ministry is working. But now, what we contribute to the Vikasit Bharat in 2047, health and wellness for all. That is the Sustainable Development Goal. We are party to that. Preventive healthcare, Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshanam, evidence-based, because during COVID time, even garam pani pine ka kya evidence hai, that was being asked to us, but we have the evidence for that now. So this we will do for living all dinacharya, we have the scientific evidence. Lifestyle management, integration with the modern medicine, conventional medicine. Ayurveda is for people and planet. So we have eco-friendly healthcare, sustainability, medicinal plant conservation, natural resource-based economy. That is our vision we want to achieve during 2047. And India's global identity, Ayurveda can become India's global wellness symbol. And not only Ayurveda, through all my Ayush colleagues, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy, and Sovaripa, we can together can create, with the integration, can create our own identity in the healthcare sector. We can become the hub for the medical tourism, wellness tourism. And more importantly, Ayurveda is a part of cultural diplomacy, because that's the way of living healthy and happy life. If Bhutan has the happiness index, why we cannot have? So we can become the part of a diplomatic engagement as a cultural diplomacy. And through AI and big data, to tele-Ayurveda, blockchain for traceability, we can integrate, and that's what we are integrating, because there is a global initiative on artificial for health, for traditional medicine, with the initiative of Secretary and WHO. I'm happy to be co-chair of that, and we are developing ethics and governance in artificial intelligence for traditional medicine. I think with that we can come out and reach out to each and every human being, for the plants, for the peoples, for the planet, the solutions. This is the way forward, emerging area in education, in patient follow-up, risk ethics, and this is how our approach towards international renaissance. From WHO Global Center, international recognition through WHO ICD 11 through Ministry of Ayush and councils. In G20 summit, what was more integrated as a traditional medicine, and global networking, having presence in each and every country. I'm sure that the Ayurveda embodies the vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047, sustainable growth, equitable health, and cultural pride. Each Indians, we have the pride for our own traditional medicine. Integrate ancient wisdom with modern science for balanced, holistic, and human development, and position India as a global leader in healthcare with Bharatiya model of healthcare development. That is our vision. I appeal everyone that India's Ministry of Ayush Decade Transformative Growth, it is in this QR code. You can scan this and you will get this. But I am happy to share with esteemed chair and co-chair and everyone, this journey, Ayur Raksha and others journey, we already had published in the India journey in the frontiers of medicine recently. So this also has a recognition of how we have integrated in the primary health care. This is how, lastly I can say, we can do better than anyone else can. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Nesari. I would now request Dr. Muralidharan, who is a senior scientist in Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Science and Technology in Trivandrum. Dr. Muralidharan is an engineer par excellence, a leading innovator in health and medical technologies. He spearheads projects that bridge cutting-edge biomedical engineering, clinical insight, and scalable healthcare solutions. His work spans diagnostics, imaging, prosthetics, and digital health, translating complex technologies into practical tools that enhance patient care and outcomes. The title of his presentation is Role of Public Funded R&D Institutions in Atmanirbhar Bharat, Learning from SCTI-MST. Thank you. Dr. Muralidharan, please.
Thank you for the nice introduction. Distinguished panel, esteemed participants, now we are having a highly innovative initiative at making the country self-sufficient through focus on local manufacturing, reduced import dependency, and strengthening the domestic industries. Now, if you look at the Indian medical device industry, we can see that about 75% of the market demand is met through imports. That means we are producing only 25% of the need. Why this suboptimal performance by the Indian medical device industry? If you look at the reason for this, probably we can find 3 or 4 major reasons. The first one is non-availability of the imported technology, because most of the MNCs would not part with their technology base because the total market is not too big. Second one is the high cost involved in the imported technology. Third one, very little industrial R&D happening within the country. And the fourth one could be the lack of sufficient skilled manpower and resources for carrying out industrial R&D. Now, if you look at the growth of medical device industry, there are few points which we need to consider in taking the or assessing the growth pattern. The first point is there are many public funded institutions putting in a lot of time, effort, and resources in developing medical devices and medical device technologies. Why those technologies, most of them, are not reaching the market? The primary reason, again, is the incapability, I would say, of the current Indian device industry in scaling up know-how from the laboratory scale into a commercial proposition. Why that is so is mainly because, again, most of the medical device industry in India are in the MSME segment. Not even MSME, I'll stop with M and S, micro and small industries, and very few medium industries. That means there is not enough resources with the industry for scaling it up, revalidating the processes, and taking this product from the laboratories into the market. Now, if you look at the segment again, for achieving the objectives of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the public funded institutions, especially R&D institutions, has a major role to play. I'm trying to give you a brief on this particular segment. By giving you a case study based on the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. This particular institute is an institute of national importance under the aegis of Department of Science and Technology and has mainly 3 arms. The first arm, the biomedical technology wing, focuses on medical devices and biomaterials. Then we have a second arm, which is a tertiary care hospital specializing in cardiac and neurological specialties. And the third arm is a public health school specializing in public health, policy interventions, and training. During the past 30 plus years of existence, the institute was able to substantially contribute to the development of Indian medical device industry by developing and transferring technologies to the industry. Till now, we have about 90 technology transfers, of which 20 have reached successful commercialization. A large number are in the process of getting commercialized. And with this know-how and the industrial linkages, the institute-based technologies are able to generate large number of employment, about 4,000 per year direct and about 20,000 per year indirect employment. And during this journey of this R&D and associated activities, the institute has more than 250 Indian patents, about 30 international patents, and about 105 patent applications at various stages of processing. Some of the success stories of this particular institute include, one is the development of blood bag, which happened in the early 90s. With the technology, there are 2 companies manufacturing blood bags. About 30 million bags are being manufactured every year and is being exported to about 80 countries. With these 2 companies together is meeting about 1/4 the global demand for blood bags. Another success story is that of the heart valve, mechanical heart valve, which was developed in early 90s again. Close to 200,000, 2 lakh implantations have been made till now. About 600 centers are using this product, and the first patient who received the valve in 1990 has crossed 34 years. The second generation product, which was developed subsequently, is in the clinical evaluation now, and about 40 devices has been implanted. During the recent past, with the support from the Technical Research Center of Department of Science and Technology, the institute enhanced its R&D capacity from taking up few, probably 5 to 6 technologies concurrently, to having 60 plus concurrent R&D programs. And during the last 5 years, with this capacity enhancement, we are able to transfer about 20 technologies to industries. And most of these technologies fall under the category of high-risk medical devices. Some of them include a left ventricular assist device, which is used for supporting the end-stage cardiac failure, a ASD closure device, which is used mainly for the pediatric closure of the ASD defect, then coronary stents, a flow diverter stent, which is used for managing the cerebral aneurysm, and so many other devices. Apart from the developing technologies and transferring to the industry, as part of support to the medical device industry, we have programs like testing services. These testing services are accredited to the national and international agencies, thereby supporting the device industries in easing the regulatory burden for getting the regulatory approval from various agencies. We also have an industry institute partnership cell, which conducts skilling programs in the areas of medical device R&D, as well as in industrial manufacturing, good manufacturing practices. In order to cater to the startup ecosystem, we have an incubator, technology incubator, which is sort of supporting many startups, and many products have come out from this particular ecosystem. What I'm trying to propose now is, normally we have a notion that technology development for supporting the industry is developing know-how and developing the know-wise. Most of the institutions stop there. But what we want to propose is the public funded R&D institutions has to take up the roles, mainly 3 roles, that of a strategic investor, a facilitator, and a catalyst. As a strategic investor, we should invest in R&D infrastructure, invest in business-driven R&D programs. As a facilitator, we should establish facilities for product evaluation, because most of the industries may not have the resources for setting up these facilities. Set up modular manufacturing facilities so that the industry can delay their investment on manufacturing plants and support the national regulatory mechanism. As facilitators, we should strive to become knowledge resource centers in the domain and take up skill upgradation for people from R&D and industry. This particular model may not be limited to, the use of this model may not be limited to the medical device sector alone. Any domain in which the industry is trying to catch up, trying to grow, I think this type of model could be useful in supporting the corresponding industrial domain. So thank you, the STIC team, for the platform, and all the participants for the patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muralidharan, for the very informative presentation. And we all know that Suchitra is the flag bearer in that area of medical device development. So now we have heard from all the speakers. We got to know the vision of the government, and we also learned the mission for rest of us, prescription for the startups and for us. So I would now request the chair and the co-chair of the session to kindly summarize the take-home messages from this session briefly. Thank you.
This was a very nice and informative session to discuss the growth of health and medical technologies in the country. As the way my take-home messages are that every problem that Dr. Sareen talked about, a method in which we can think about a problem together between the clinicians, the traditional medicine practitioners, the innovators, the industry, the bioengineering people. We need to think about a problem and find a solution. And the solutions may not be very difficult, and they may exist for others, but for us, they may be different. If we have to find, for example, fatty liver in a very simplistic way, in a conformed way, not just by waist circumference, but medical technologies based on that, I'm sure there is enough brain power in this country to do that. And this was taken up by Dr. Kang, in which Gates Foundation, many government agencies, others are trying to see how we can leverage the power of science and technology and the power of Indian industry for making point-of-care diagnostics, particularly for primary health care in our rural India, in peripheral India, in places where we cannot rely on what we currently have. And just to say that when India does something, it changes everything for the world. Sickle cell test, for example, was $5 when India started working on it, and the Indian industry has made it only $0.33 of a dollar now. Similarly, we used to have for about $8 to $10 a TB test, and now it is merely $1 for a NAT test, for a good quality nucleic acid amplification test for TB. So if we can pull again this consortium of partnership, we can get through to not only the interventions on diagnostics in terms of devices, but also point of care diagnostics. We talked about synergy of tradition with technology, integrative care, research, rigorous evidence for traditional medicine interventions, and also about preventive. My take-home message is the way the non-communicable disease is coming as a tsunami. India and many parts of the world will not be able to afford. In fact, even the developed world is unable to afford treating each one of those patients. And we must invest in preventive and wellness interventions, including our diet, like Ayush Ahar is a very good way of entering that, and of other wellness interventions. In the end, we heard about devices and the fact that we are very severe dependence on imports for medical devices. Having said that, there is no dearth of talent, no dearth of entrepreneurship in our country, and the way we have started on the mission of making Indian innovations, and institutions like Sri Chitra have contributed immensely to that, and we heard a few examples. But my last message to all of you is that we need to think about this as a national priority. We need to leverage, as Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday, science and technology for the society. And I often say this, that there are only two reasons to do research and innovation. Either you should make India proud, like our colleagues in ISRO often do. When they landed Chandrayaan on the south pole of the moon, every single Indian was filled with pride. So either do something which will make India proud, but more importantly, do something which will improve health of our citizens and of citizens of the world. And that anyways will make India proud. So that is the wholesome message that we all, there is so much brain power in this country and in this room itself, that if we all pledge that we will create innovative, affordable technology for India and the world, we can make a sea change. Thank you.
Thanks all chair, co-chair and all the speakers for their valuable information. Now I request all the audience to have a big clap for the valuable information. I request Dr. Amit to give the moment to Dr. Koteja. I request Dr. Ruchi to give momentum to Dr. Bahl. I request Dr. Amit to give momentum to Dr. Sharin. I request Dr. Amit to give momentum to Professor Kang. I request Dr. Ruchi to give memento to Professor Neshari. I request Dr. Amit to give memento to Sri Muralidharan. Now I request all the thematic committee member, panel member to have a photo with the speakers and the chair. Please join with us. The panel member and all thematic member of the theme health and medical technology. We have a very short panel discussions. I request all the audience, please join us for panel discussion. Now I request Dr. Shanta Sabuz Das, Director, NICET Kolkata, to facilitate the panel discussion.
So after listening to the leaders in health research about the research priorities of today and tomorrow and the scope of developing new technologies which can effectively address these priorities, now it's a time for panel discussion on the topic of role of health technologies as a pillar of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So since yesterday we have been hearing deliberations about Technology 4.0, which integrates technologies like AI, cloud computing, Internet of Things, big data into manufacturing and other industries. This panel discussion will deliberate over how adopting these technologies could create a smart healthcare system that will improve effectiveness, personalization, and patient outcome, and help attaining the goal of Vikshit Bharat 2047. I would like to first invite, our panelists and the moderators are already here. I'd just like to give a brief introduction to them. So our moderator is Dr. Jitendra Kumar Sharma, who is the Managing Director and Founder CEO of Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone at Visakhapatnam, and he is popularly known as MedTech Man of India. And the first panelist is Dr. Bhushan Pattabardhan, who is the National Research Professor of Ayush, and he was also the former Vice Chairman of the University Grants Commission and Chairman of the Indian Council of Social Science Research. Our next panelist is Professor Mohan Kumar Shiva Prakasam, who is the Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Madras. And he is the Director, Health Technology Innovation Center at IIT Madras, which is a collaborative center with Department of Biotechnology. Our next panelist is Professor Rahul Parwar, who is a Professor, Department of Bioscience and Bioengineering at IIT Bombay, and he is the founder and Chairman of the Board of ImmunoAct, which is the India's first cell and gene therapy company. And our next panelist is Dr. Puthiedat Ram Manohar. Dr. Ram Manohar is the Research Director of Amrita Center for Advanced Research in Ayurveda in Kerala, and he is the member of National Commission for Indian System of Medicine. So I would now like to hand over the mic to Dr. Jitendra Sharma for conducting this.
Thank you very much. We are starting with half an hour late, but we will try to complete this session in about 30-35 minutes. If I can start by saying, इस कमरे में 2 दरवाजे हैं, आधे उधर जाओ, आधे उधर जाओ, और जो बच गए वो हम लोगों के साथ बैठो. Now, medical technology and emerging sciences. So if you look at healthcare of a country, the entire healthcare, it is in infrastructure, human resources, pharmaceuticals, medical technology. Infrastructure, human resources, we have various other forums. And we are very glad some of our distinguished keynote speakers, including respected Secretary Ayush, has considered to stay back for this session. Thank you, sir. This infrastructure and human resources are tackled differently. But when you look at health products, the pharmaceuticals, biologics, Ayush products, medical technology, almost 10 lakh crore, and I'm repeating this number, pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical technology, Ayush products put together is a 10 lakh crore industry. In this 10 lakh crore industry, right from innovation to value chain, component development, import replacement, self-sufficiency, future tech, everything has to find a space. The entire health product being a 10 lakh crore industry, if all of these segments have to find a space, everybody must find a proven scientific value and a proven economic value. And I'm very glad our 4 speakers today here have created a benchmark in each sub-segment of this 10 lakh crore market, which is medical technology products. Dr. Mohan Shankar Shiv Prakasam, my good friend, colleague, brother from IIT Madras, with whom we have been working for 15 years now, Mohan, if you remember. He demonstrates indigenization. We have Dr. Bhushan Patwardhan, who brings in from the knowledge of biochemistry, but getting into traditional products, looks at modernization. We have Dr. Rahul, who looks at future tech, and we have Dr. Ram Manohar, who looks at convergence. So in this 10 lakh crore of health technology product market, including Ayush, diagnostics, biologics, vaccines, medtech, pharma, each one of them is a pillar. But the probability of this session becoming interesting is directly proportional to Dr. Mohan's missing the flight. And because his flight is at 7:45, I'm requesting Mohan, Dr. Mohan, if I can start with you, because if you have to live in between, please feel free. There are two things I want to ask you. One, the notion of innovation always tends to misrepresent that innovation has to be something uniquely different, glamorous, out of the world. But when you walk into a hospital, a simple operation theater light is not an innovation. And India still imports it. You have been playing a critical role for representing innovation for indigenization, innovation for import replacement, innovation for self-sufficiency. How do you manage while creating impact, creating innovative solution for import substitution in a national ecosystem which is not yet ready to give you components, not yet ready to give you the benchmark systems that may be available in industries which have 30, 40-year legacy? How do you break that jinx?
So what you said is actually true, even more so because R&D, be it your performance or awards, everything is measured by pushing the envelope. Right? I mean, that's generally how we measure R&D. But innovation is a word that's misrepresented, you're right. So the only way to explicitly communicate this is to say, is the innovation producing value? The value usually will be economic, social, right? Sometimes it's intangible, sometimes it's directly tangible, and sometimes strategic. Right? So as long as you communicate this clearly, this is the difficulty which we overcame by explicitly saying that HTIZ, which was set up explicitly, saying that it will be measured by the number of patients it will impact. Till date, it's around 1.5 crore patients. So the communication is explicitly important, both within the institution and the outside institution. Now the second part is, really a very detailed question. Most of the component technologies, right from a sleeve, a particular hook, a particular material,
a drive, a capacitor,
many of them are not available in India. Right? But you don't have to lose heart in it, because you realize today there is nothing called everything need to be made here. Right? I mean, that's actually not, I don't think there's any product except probably for food to some extent. But if you look at even the food production as an industry, I mean, 70% of the equipment components will come from outside. So the key to look at is, if I am trading Dalali ka kaam, right? If I'm making 20%, 30% value addition, including GST, probably 35%, can we push this to 60, 70%? Right? That's in one way a true, dry definition of indigenization. Right?
And that's actually under Government of India Public Procurement Order. Class A producer means 60% local value addition. So it actually matches, what you are saying matches with the public policy.
So as long as that we are able to do and move this, what Murli was mentioning, 75 to, I think it's more like 80, I believe. Right?
Now import dependency is 63%. Just come down.
So if you can move that, and because it is now already a lakh and a half crore medical devices, it's about 1/5 of pharma and biologics put together probably. Right? As long as you are able to do that, this is how we pick products, right? I mean, to innovate on. And I will sort of make a complaint, right? I mean, which we should all reflect on. in this conversation and including the one, the earlier one, there is one key missing person and a piece, right? And I'm surprised that none of us thought about it, I guess. It is the industry, right? So it is ESTIC, it's okay, but there is another I there, which is the one that converts this I into actual value. So I will make some brief remarks about, part of the reason, and this is connected to your second question, as to why medical devices has not reached the scale which pharma has reached. It's exporting. In fact, most of the profits of pharma is actually coming from exports. In fact, it is being almost practically cross-subsidized. Is the public procurement is abysmal. I mean, sorry, anybody sitting in.
But it's a reality.
Yeah, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, right? We, on one side, put public resources for R&D and innovation, but we don't want to absorb this innovation that comes out as a value, sometimes for genuine reasons, sometimes for too flimsy or impractically imposed constraints on an industry which is already fledgling. So unless we fix that explicitly, you cannot have innovations scale, especially in medical devices, unlike pharma, which has economies of scale built into it. Here it is not. Each and every equipment takes the same time and same cost to build it, right? So I will stop there. If you critique on that comment, we can...
Just one addition before I move on. Dr. Amitabh also has struggled with this. In the past, he has cracked it also in the ventilator exercise. Public procurement is not only small, it is episodic. So if there is a COVID, there is a massive public procurement, and that public procurement plateaus when it comes to medtech. And then credible innovators also suffer, because credible innovation requires a sustainable market access pipeline. Now here is a DST CSIR family coming from Ministry of Science and Technology, our hosts. Many of the brilliant innovators like Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, Hyderabad, many people work with us at AMTZ. Why? Because they create novelty, we convert it into a product. Because we are a factory, we are a home of factories. What is it that you see HTIC can do? Because IIT, Madras and HTIC itself is just one pillar of where innovation is happening. Each one of the person here represents a pillar. From IIT Kanpur to Roorkee, each individual, each expert here is a pillar, a supply in the funnel of innovation. What is it that you think HTIC can do to bridge with these pillars so that their innovation and your productization could lead to impact?
So this was a realization we started to have once our first wave of successes happened. I mean, once you have some success, you realize how much you can scale it. So 2-3 things are very clear, especially in this medtech space. It is not, again, I go back to pharma, right? Pharma has a horizontal platform, right? Which is basically chemicals and manufacturing, right? And allied chemicals.
Established pharmacopoeia standards.
So the challenge in medtech is it's highly fragmented. I believe there are close to 1 lakh products, and each of them regulated very differently.
Heterogeneous,
right?
completely.
Extremely heterogeneous. That makes industry's life, really difficult. Right? So what we have realized is we have to now, India has reached a point where you have to build depth in each of it. Right? Because if you want to build, eye examination products, which we have built, extremely good depth, and so on. The endoscopy, we have built extremely good depth, and now we're sort of responsible for the first set of indigenous products in flexible endoscopy, which is a 1,000 crore market altogether. So for anything else, the only way is you have to collaborate with other people. I mean, this is not going to happen where, I end up doing ceramics, you end up doing, robotic surgery, while it requires 10 years to build that thing. So this is the first thing. So we have created depth and facilities. Facilities includes infrastructure and knowledge and everything. The second aspect of it, which is slightly oblique to this, the startups, right, today have realized that there is success to be made in health tech, Not like, thousands of crore success, but critical success that you can make. We are incubating them as an ecosystem, not just, give them, space or technology facility. And these are the two things that we are able to do, which has actually moved the needle significantly over the last 5 to 7 years.
And you think that needle can attract some of the innovations happening in these institutions?
Sure, absolutely. And that's already started to happen. In fact, what is probably a good way of measuring success is out of the 65 startups, less than 10 are from IIT Madras, which is the parent institution, probably 12, 15, not more than that. So 70% of our startups that are incubated by us are actually from outside. So that shows that it's able to attract, and we will scale it eventually.
And your point is that pivots like HTIC can actually swing the game by attracting a higher density of innovation towards ecosystems that provide skill, infra, and technical expertise.
Yeah, and because it is explicitly mission focused. I mean, it's not another lab in IIT Madras. It's only measured by, its entire measuring is only based on 2-3 metrics. So
absolutely,
that's
thank you.
Works. Thank you.
I'll move to Rahul. Dr. Rahul, each person sitting here, AI is artificial intelligence. But you have sort of given it a spin definition, academia-industry collaboration. That's also AI. Perhaps breaking certain mandates initially, because a researcher in an academic institution is not supposed to create an economic value chain around a product, create a company, and so on. You did meddle with established traditional formulas, but you created a prototype of success through your gene therapy, which is extremely essential for cancer care, many other diseases potentially. 2 questions. What were the success factors? What did you do uniquely to establish this extension, academic knowledge into industrial success, within the limitations that you live in, institutional norms that you live? What did you do differently? And second question, with emergence of large number of futuristic tech, including AI, do you think not manipulation, but utilization of what you have done in CAR cell therapy for other disorders that Dr. Sareen, for example, mentioned in his talk?
Thank you so much, Jitendra, for the question. So before I give you the answer of your specific questions, let me tell the audience what is CAR T-cell therapy or the gene therapy, what we work on. In brief, yesterday you saw the Prime Minister was given the gift of these 3 technologies. One of them was the gene therapy developed by us. And what is gene therapy? So, एक बार योगा और सब कुछ करने के बाद फिर भी यदि आपको डिसीज हो गया, डॉक्टर सरीन की बात सुनने के बाद फिर भी कैंसर हो गया, तब there is no other hope.
And Dr. Sareen, by the way, proved that a fatter person might be healthier than a thinner one. So I'm now doubting myself.
Exactly. But by any chance, still, like by doing everything right, still you end up having the cancer. What to do, right? And gene therapy has a potential to cure some type of cancers and some type of beyond oncology, what Jitendra was referring, that how this platform can be used beyond 1 or 2 different type of diseases. So gene therapy is also a personalized medicine, which Dr. Sareen also mentioned we should move towards personalized medicine. So how it works? So in gene therapy, you take the patient's blood, you educate the patient's immune cells to become disease-fighting cells. So you are taking same patient's blood cells, educating them by different genetic manipulation or different recombinant DNA technologies, and making them cancer-fighting cells, autoimmune fighting cells, sickle cell fighting cells, or even heart attack, cardiac fibrosis fighting cells. That's what we do. And this technology cost around 3 to 4 crore rupees per patient. It's that expensive. This is the cheapest gene therapy cost I am telling you. Some other gene therapy costs 20 crore rupees per patient. That's the reason why many pharma company doesn't want to come to India, because they do not see the market. When I came here, become the faculty member at IIT Bombay, our idea was that while others do not come, and our patients are mainly given in cancer like chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, right? These are the three major pillars of the cancer treatment. But immunotherapy and gene therapy, when I asked doctors why we are not giving, only one answer was, we can't afford it. 3-4 crore rupees patient per treatment, we can't afford it, our patient can't afford it, so they are given palliative care when nothing works. That's the motivation we started this work in IIT Bombay in last 11 years. It took us 11 years. We developed the product, these all expensive tools. We did all the phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials, reached out to the government of India. They gave us market authorization. So this boutique therapy, which was only available in the US or Europe, now it is available across the country. All the major hospitals have it. And it is given at a very reduced cost. In fact, there are farmers' sons or farmers, or even all socioeconomic strata, like in Tata Hospital, if somebody is having this stage 4 blood cancer, it is available to them. And there is a lot of effort they do. Government is putting a lot of effort to ensure whoever needs it, get it. It's not गमला में जो डॉक्टर सरीन बता रहे थे सब गमलों में पेड़ नहीं लग सकते, जितने में हम लगा सकते उतने में हम कर रहे हैं. So this is the best thing what happened actually last 11 years of effort. This platform, as he was rightly saying, this is not just limited to 1 or 2 type of cancers. This platform can be extended to non-oncology, which is like sickle cell disease, which is a problem in our tribal areas. This platform can be extended to the non-communicable disease like cardiac fibrosis. People are trying cell and gene therapy also in diabetes, but those aims are very far. But right now, short-term blood cancer is very nicely treatable. Sickle cell is nicely treatable. And I really loved the Jiten's analogy of AI. I was always thinking artificial intelligence. But one thing which is missing in our country is, as somebody also pointed out, industry is missing. Academia-industry partnership. We have excellent academic institutions, excellent scientists. We have excellent industry as well. And there are efforts, yes, there are a lot of efforts where we are started talking, but they are not at a scale which is we can be satisfied to. We need to promote academia-industry partnership. And I can tell you some experience because I belong to both. I am professor at IIT Bombay last 11 years, build my own company as well. And so I call myself as an accidental entrepreneur because I never wanted to become entrepreneur. But this technology, what we developed, gene therapy, it doesn't fit in the pharma template. Traditional pharma template, it doesn't fit. It doesn't make a good commercial, profitable company. Right now, the template what we have in pharma, it makes a lot of money, right? But the template we work on, it's more like social in the pharma world. We still make some money, but in the pharma world, it doesn't. So when we developed the technology and we reached out to majority of the pharma, they did not want to take this technology for the scale up. So we thought if nobody is taking, let us build the company. We built the company. We took this academic project to the translational research. From the translation, we now...
Institutionally, being a professor in IIT Bombay, how did you circumvent the challenges to take it to the industrial world?
Yeah. So this way, IIT, unlike CSIR, ICMR, UGC institutes, IIT Bombay has a IP policy and faculty-led industry policy. So in IIT Bombay, or all IITs, I think they have a very standard, established, very flexible policy.
ICMR also rolled out one such policy,
yes.
The industrial entrepreneurship policy for ICMR scientists. Maybe this is also a time when CSIR could look at IIT Bombay policy.
Correct.
To facilitate scientists, engineers, doctors working in CSIR labs to follow the same path.
Yes.
Because you not just created a product, you also created a path.
Yes, and now, we created the path. The major challenge which you asked, what was the challenge? The challenge was a regulatory challenge, because to bring such kind of complex technology, and this is actually this innovation of gene therapy, which CAR T-cell therapy, which Science magazine said this is the most phenomenal advance of medical science in last 100 years. So actually it is more complex than other technologies, which many of us do not know. But regulatory challenges were huge. They were like unsurmountable, because India did not have the regulatory pathway. So we had to work, but thanks to DGICMR, thanks to CDSCO, thanks to Rajesh Gokhale, DBT secretary, all they come together, have a discussion.
RCGM.
In some of the meeting, we also have you in the PSA. So I think government heard us. They made the policies, guidelines were written, and slowly, it was, of course, it was not overnight. That's why we took 11 years in this journey. But finally, things worked out, and we have the product in the market.
It is estimated that by 2035, 15 to 17% of entire healthcare budget will be only on cancers, right? So if you reduce the cost here, you are actually reducing 17% to something less than 5 or 6%. It can have very huge effect. The reason I'm saying this is CAR cell therapy for blood cancer is one thing. There are other cancers where we struggle as well. So radiotherapy, for example, linear accelerators for radiotherapy are made by only 2 companies in the world. Electra in Sweden and Varian in the US, now taken over by Siemens. Samir in IIT Bombay actually created linear accelerator 6 mega electron volts long ago. We have just set up a factory in MTZ building linear accelerators for 15 mega electron volts. So if a country can take champion institutions from radiation oncology to CAR cell therapy to biologics to HER2 positive cancer targeting pharmaceutical products, there is a lot that can be done to impact the overall burden of expenditure on cancer.
Absolutely, and Make in India effort has to be there, because whatever we do right now, most of the reagents, most of the equipment we purchase, we import. That's the reason if we can further reduce the cost if we do things indigenously. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll move to Dr. Patwardhan, Dr. Professor Bhushan Patwardhan. Biochemist by background, specializing in natural products, living in an academic institution. In the field of products that you deal, how do you manage innovation pipeline?
Yeah, a very good question. Actually, I must tell you frankly that globally I'm talking about, in the area of health and medical field, we are actually facing what we call it as innovation deficit. Means barring CAR-T, like very few technologies, there have been no breakthroughs during last couple of decades. We have not seen major breakthrough drugs also which have come, maybe exception of Ozempic, which today we think, tomorrow we don't know what will happen. Why this is happening? There is a major innovation deficit in drug discovery also. And I think that Ayurveda or Ayush as such can become an excellent innovation engine to boost this. So we can become the innovation hub for the world to give them new medicines, new drugs, new therapies. And we should not actually restrict this only to medicine. I also must warn, that in the enthusiasm to create new technologies, we should not do it at compromising the basics of health and basics of medicine, which is the intuitive skills of doctor, or what we call it as clinical acumen. It should not come compromising with that. So we should not intensify or over-glorify technologies. Technologies are important, but before them, protecting health is more important.
So you mentioned a very important point, what we should not do. You are also right that there is a deficit of innovation pipeline. There might be some breakthroughs, even within the field of medical technology, the last innovative product that we got was 25 years ago, robotic surgery system. Before that was gamma knife. Imagine all the MRI, CT scan, gamma knife, robotic surgery that we see today are all technologies that are 20 to 30 year old. The last was 25 years ago, robotic surgery system, which also is dangerous because when a lot of people talk of innovation, some of them can be Me Too products, some of them can be duplicates, some of them can be falsely labeled products for a certain impact. This danger also lurks if something becomes an innovation engine like Ayurveda products. What filters do you use for regulating your innovation pipeline?
Okay, so innovation, actually, Secretary Ayush mentioned that we have now WHO center here. And recently, WHO has given a call for heritage linked innovations, you know. And we have developed a tool, actually, how to assess those innovations. Because there have been a huge number of submissions that innovation products, huge number, how do you do that? So we have developed actually a tool based on which we can shortlist this innovation, which innovations qualify for the primary round, which innovations can actually enter into next phase, and which innovation deserve actually funding to be given so that they can be taken to the next level. So very soon you will find that this tool will be available for others also to be utilized.
Yeah. And taking the advantage of Secretary Ayush also among the audience, may I ask another question? Any food product that you take, from a Parle-G biscuit to an Ashirvad Atta, any product, there is an FSSAI license number in it. Now, a license number is given not just by the quality of the product, but also the processes followed in the production, at the site of production. In Ayush, what do you do?
Ayush actually has created a very good regulatory system now. So the pharmacopoeia is much better now, much better in place. The regulatory controls are also increasing. And most importantly, Ayush Ministry has developed certain marks of quality, you know, Ayush marks for quality. And it is continuously evolving stage. But I must tell you that as compared to last decade, if you want to see, the quality control of Ayurvedic medicine has enhanced tremendously. And it will further grow.
And that would also need large number of people, standard setting people, inspection people, to actually look at whether the standard or the norm is being followed or not?
Absolutely it is. But I also must mention here that there is a deliberate attempt always being made to malign the image of Ayush by creating wrong narratives, by putting wrong stories and all. We keep on rebuttal doing that, you know, but still that kind of a negative force still exists in our country as well as globally, which we can understand. But the quality of Ayurvedic products or the failure of quality of Ayurvedic products need not be actually reason to malign Ayurveda or any such branches, because quality control failures happens in allopathy also. There was case, you might remember, Tylenol cyanide contaminated Tylenol also was there.
No, we have a very high rejection rate even in medical electronics.
Absolutely.
You use a wrong sensor and you get a wrong result, nothing to do with the machine.
So it happens, quality control failures are everywhere, but they should not be magnified out of the proportion just because they are coming from
And that happens maybe because we understand the science less. Dr. Ram Manohar, you come from Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, which is also home to a very great super specialty hospital. I have myself taught there with Director Prem Nair and Dr. Sanjeev Singh, who is now Director of Amrita Institute, Faridabad. It uses the most modern technology, most modern systems, most modern equipment. And you come from the Ayurveda naturopathy school. What evidence-based tools of modern technology, modern medicine do you apply in your work?
Yeah, I mean, at the outset, I'd like to make a remark that, you know, India today stands at a remarkable inflection point where ancient knowledge is meeting new frontiers in technology. So Ayush and Ayurveda are no longer at the periphery of healthcare, I mean, they are being streamlined into the national technology missions, digital ecosystems.
R&D fund.
R&D fund.
PRIP scheme.
Yes. So in this context, what I see is that, you know, we are beginning to reimagine Ayurveda in the modern innovation ecosystem. And I see a lot of convergence. I'd like to look at this conceptual framework in Ayurveda, what we call Tattva, Shastra, Vyavahara, and Lokanugraha, which corresponds to, you know, the modern translational and technology readiness levels continuum. So we see a clear convergence there. And using this as a map, it's possible for us to identify where modern technologies can actually come in. So in Ayurveda also we have this framework that knowledge should be translated into applications that will help society. That is the Tattva, Shastra, Vyavahara, Lokanugraha framework. So at the Tattva level, we have, you know, conceptual, theoretical validation, Shastra level, you know, experimental validation and prototype development, Vyavahara level, deploying, you know, technologies actually at the
and the results of deployment.
And finally, making sure that it meets the needs of the people. That's called as Lokanugraha. So Ayurveda works in this framework. And a physician is expected to be, in a classical term, Swayam Kriti, an innovator. So the Sushruta Samhita says, when you finish studies, Tattvathigata Shastrartho Drishtakarma Swayam Kriti. And Charaka also talks about how a physician should develop newer and newer applications. He says, Subudhevam Sahasrani Kotirvapi Vikalpe. Within crores and thousands, you have to create new innovative products. So now coming to the question where we are using this evidence-based framework, what I think is, you know, Ayurveda, the main challenge is that Ayurveda is a complex knowledge system. And this is where we have been finding it very difficult to map with the modern evidence framework. And today, technology has evolved to a point where we are seeing, you know, alignment.
So in this alignment as it is happening, in pharmaceutical, medical technology, when veterinary medicine, we use lot of animal models. Now we have started using simulations. Yes. Do you see the possibility of using modern tools like simulations, deep learning techniques in factoring them in the development of Ayurveda products?
Yes, because first thing is we need modeling of Ayurvedic theories. The current animal models or experimental models are very reductionistic and they cannot be mapped to the complex Ayurvedic theoretic modeling of the body. And that is where new AI-based possibilities, even digital twins, you know, where we can create a model of how Ayurveda envisions it and then see how the medicines work.
So you do see a possibility of machine learning-led data platforms work along with Ayurvedic platforms to give better evidence?
Definitely.
Do you have an example?
No, so for example, we have currently now worked in the field of medical education, where we have created, you know, a simulation platform where students learn through virtual patients, where we are able to bring in the Ayurvedic modeling of the human body. The student is able to interact, and these are actually based on live clinical cases. And the model creates these scenarios and the students are able to interact with that. And we are now in the process of trying to, you know, extrapolate that into experimental design also, where, you know, we can work on drug development. Especially the challenge with Ayurveda is that our drug designing is very complex. They are multi-ingredient, multi-component, multi-targeted. And up to now we had only reductionistic frameworks of, you know, identifying active principles or, you know, fractionation, and this would lead to loss of that holistic framework. But today we have more sophisticated tools available like network pharmacology, AI enabling, and even this thing of drug-herb interactions, which is that's one area where we're very much interested, because drug-herb interactions are one of the biggest impediments.
Phytopharmaceuticals.
Yes. Because in Amrita, where we have both, like where, you know, we are trying to really leap forward in terms of technological development, we have state-of-the-art modern medical facilities, and we are struggling to integrate Ayurveda into this framework. One of the reasons is the drug-herb interaction scare. And we have realize that it's impossible to experimentally validate drug-herb interactions. We need an AI-driven predictive model. An engine. Which, because new drugs are created, in Ayurveda especially, we personalize treatments. Every time there's a possibility of a new drug-herb interaction.
But it's also safer for an economy to look at Ayurveda just as a product portfolio, because there are certain risks we have, Ayurveda doesn't. For example, we produce MRI machines. When I was in Ministry of Health, I used to buy an MRI machine 1.5 Tesla for 6 crore. Now I am exporting at 2 crore 80 lakhs. 1.5 Tesla MRI machine from India, from Visakhapatnam. But this MRI machine uses superconducting magnet. Magnet is a rare earth, niobium, titanium coil. Some country will put a lock on it and we will suffer, we will not be able to make magnet. These scarcities will impact Ayurveda less because it is homegrown, value chain pipeline is in your control. और जब सब आपका साथ छोड़ देंगे आयुर्वेदा बच जाएगा.
Yes.
हमारे दोनों मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ ही चले गए, 2 आयुर्वेदा वाले रह गए. So all I'm saying is कि somewhere I think our ability to govern the value chain life cycle is more in our control in ancient medicine, traditional medicine, than modern technology, because modern technology is an offshore technology. Offshore technology will always come with offshore dependency. We will have centers of excellence like ARCI, Dr. Sharda is here, lot of chemicals, compositions, materials, implants. We will still have pipeline, but there will be a factor of offshore dependency. That factor of offshore dependency is not there in Ayurveda.
I think, we can philosophically reimagine the way we develop technologies.
Absolutely.
And then
So we are running short of time. We were supposed to close at 6. We are at 6:30. I am told we have time for 2-3 questions from the audience. If there are any further remarks, I welcome you. Otherwise, we'll ask the audience to...
Just make one remark last. This session is on health and medical technologies. And our entire focus, you will see, that has been on medical technologies. We are really equating health and medicine as synonyms, which they are not. When we lose health, we need medicine, If every MBBS doctor aspires to become MD and every MD aspires to become MCH, who is going to look after people? That question we need to ask. And I think Ayurveda has that answer. Because Ayurveda whole focus is on health, swasthya.
And here we are also now very cognizant, both in the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Ayush, that Ayurveda is not a competition therapy. It's complementary, it's supportive, it does what it does in a certain segment, and it allows others to do what they need to do, like radiotherapy in cancer care, orthopedic surgery, implant. No Ayurveda has claimed that they will create an implant, because they know implant is titanium alloy or a cobalt chromium alloy. But what Ayurveda says that average length of stay without an Ayurvedic product in hospital could be 7 days. With Ayurvedic product post-surgery could be 3 days. And therefore, the complementarity case studies also needs to be established.
Absolutely. One more last point I want to make is technology should not be monopoly of a particular pathy. Technology should be open to all, I mean, for example, in any MRI you talked about, MRI has not been discovered by allopathic discipline, but today it is exclusively used by them. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, this question we should ask, and we should be able to really educate our entire medical fraternity for all advances in technology, and they should be able to
So you are saying a very big thing. You are saying speciality is not equal to technology platform. Technology platforms are tools open to speciality. Excellent. Any questions from the audience? Yeah. We'll take 2 or 3 questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful discussion. It was very knowledgeable. I mean, I guess inculcating knowledge from Ayurveda as well as the research, whatever is going on, including the gene therapy and all. I just had one important question, that how to integrate engineering with Ayurveda. This, secondly, Ram Manohar sir was discussing about how this Ayurveda products are made, right? Using different ways. I mean, how AI is helping in improving the products. My question is slightly different. How these Ayurveda products how they are absorbed in our body, or how specific they are for our system and to cure all the diseases. Is there any studies on that? I could not find. If you can give any.
The bigger answer would be that you should do a BMS course. The smaller answer I let him give.
Thank you.
We'll pile up all the questions and then you answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my name is Professor Gopal Kundu. I was Director National Center for Cell Science Pune. Now Director Research KIIT University Bhubaneswar. So now my point is, you need Ayurvedic medicine. You also need modern medicine. What you need, and as a cancer biologist, when I see that whether it's a lung cancer or liver cancer, especially I work on breast cancer, different subtypes of breast cancer, including triple negative breast cancer, where when you are giving chemotherapy, after second or third cycle, they are immediately developing chemoresistance, or along with that, if you are giving radiotherapy, they are developing radioresistance. Now for certain cancer like melanoma, lung, colorectal, kidney cancer, they are adding immune therapy, checkpoint inhibitor, anti-PD-1 or PD-L1, along with a chemo or radiation therapy. So now it is important that any particular type of cancer, especially those who are developing resistance or developing metastasis, you take the tissue or blood sample, especially tissue, go for genomics, identify, especially you can use the latest technology, single cell RNA sequencing, and then identify the molecular target. And it is patient to patient. Even within the same cancer also, there is heterogeneity, and then that molecular targets are different. So my specific comments to this all Ayurvedic related medicines, and including that our Secretary Ministry of Ayush, that if we can have little more, once we find the molecular target in a particular cancer, whether lung, liver, ovarian or breast or any other, these chemotherapeutic drugs, they are having side effects, whether you are talking about tamoxifen, paclitaxel, bevacizumab, or whatever you are talking, gemcitabine. But along with those drugs, if we selectively can use these Ayurvedic drugs, depending by doing little more scientific validation, it will increase the efficacy.
Based on the target.
Based on the target. Yeah. It will increase the efficacy of those modern drugs. You can reduce the dose of the modern drugs, and it will be for the betterment of the treatment of the patients, especially those who are developing resistance, chemo or radio resistant. It will be very, very helpful for that better life of the patients, or they can survive longer.
Just one small question on that large question. Will the same logic not apply for antimicrobial resistance? If it is applying for chemo resistance or radio resistance?
AMR is a little different issue, because those are purely, you are giving that antibiotic to patients who are developing infectious disease. Or
but there also we know the targets, we know the sensitivities.
So to answer your question, this Ayurvedic medicine can be used, can be given to that AMR patients also.
I'll let him answer your bigger question.
Dr. Kundu, thank you for your question. And I must tell you that a lot of work has already gone, and we have actually shown that some of Ayurvedic medicines can work as adjuvants or therapeutic adjuvants, selectively protecting from myelosuppression or similar kind of side effects which come along with chemotherapy. And some of the work which we have done along with MSKCC also has shown that they have capability to modulate a drug receptor, or ARBs, especially ARBs. So I'll share that work with you, and maybe a person like you should collaborate, and we'll be able to develop something more, you know. As regards to your AMR, you know, AMR also is possible, and that kind of a work also now with Indian Institute of Science, Minister of Ayush has just recently supported that study to see those activities.
Because in modern technology, because we produce diagnostic instruments, we are only able to diagnose. There is nothing we are able to do for treatment. Nothing. Sir, you want to answer his question?
Yeah, so you had two questions, one about Ayurveda and engineering. Right.
And you will give him a degree after this.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, there are many ways in which Ayurveda and engineering can come together. I think one of the things that I came to my notice many decades ago was how in Chinese medicine they did biopharmaceutical engineering. So they had, the decoctions had to be made in a particular way of extraction, and by controlling pressure and temperature they were able to create a device that greatly simplified the process of making decoctions. And in Japan, a modern physiology expert developed a robo. You know, this was 10-15 years ago, that would do a therapeutic procedure called Shirodhara in Ayurveda, where we need to control the flow of oil, you know, the temperature, and then it also gave biofeedback, you know, that as the patient undergoes the treatment, this robo will also get feedback on what's happening inside the system. So we have challenges in Ayurveda in deciding how long a patient should get this treatment. What is the, you know, end point? What is the optimal end point? It's very variable. Ayurveda gives some guidance that for Vata, Pitta, Kapha, so much time, so much matra. But with the use of this device, it could be kind of optimized. Today we have people working from IIT on making, you know, pulse sensors. Biosensors, you know, for pulse analysis. Yeah. Then there are devices with which, you know, we create an interface where HRV, heart rate variability, is used to you know, measure or interpret pulse using an Ayurvedic algorithm. So many applications are there in Ayurveda and engineering. The second question was about what is the current understanding of how Ayurvedic drugs work on the system. Yes. So here also, you know, we have an Ayurvedic understanding of pharmacology, but from a modern point of view, there are challenges, as I was pointing out. A single herb in Ayurveda has, when you want to explain it in terms of pharmacology, in terms of the chemicals and how they are absorbed, the ADMET, pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics, it's still in the infancy. We are just beginning to understand. The main challenge is the complexity, but many clues are there. In Ayurveda, we extract plants in different solvents like water, lipids, alcohol, and it has been found through many studies that these solvents, you know, are very specific. I mean, they are able to extract particular compounds, and the way they are processed. There was one study in Kerala, Kannur University, where they found that this, when you do fermentation of some of the herbs, like piperine get converted into a more bioactive form called piperol. And then it becomes, you know, more bioavailable. So curcumin and piperine, when they combine together, the bioavailability is enhanced. So plants like Brahmi, if you ingest it orally, it gets you know, eliminated through the first pass metabolism and other things. In order for it to reach the brain, probably nasal application using a lipid
there's the modern techniques come into play.
Yeah. No, this is what Ayurveda has done.
But converting into nasal would require. Dr. Amitabh, even at 6:45, questions are not stopping. So you may like to disclose dinner menu, or should we continue the questions? Okay. Any last question? Yes, sir. We have one question from Honorable Secretary, and then we have comment. Ji.
Actually, just to add what Brahmanorji said and Professor Patwardhan said, that actually we have a Center of Excellence at IIT Jodhpur, and the Center of Excellence is specifically named as Ayurtech, so technology development in Ayush, and they have developed so many good things. I just cite some example. They are working on a prototype where you enter and then these different sensors visualizes your Prakruti, Ayurvedic body type, Vat, Pitta, Kapha, and then accordingly, you know, this prototype also suggests the healthy way of lifestyle, etc. The same the IIT Jodhpur vertical, it also is working on developing, you know, a tool for the rare diseases and relating it with Ayurvedic principles and then looking at the insight. So there is a lot of advanced work is going on. Other than that, IIT Delhi has developed a Kshar Sutra Yantra. So in Ayurveda there is a technology of addressing anorectal diseases through medicated thread, which actually helps into preventing recurrence of anorectal problems like fistula and piles. It is developed at IIT Delhi. So there are a lot of connection with engineering, you know, for sure. And there is a lot of scope. One of the example is that there is a Nadi Tarangini is now approved by CDSCO. It is being used by more than 5,000 physicians. So it is like a spreading of, you know, such technologies. So this is a very good example. The other is about this, you know, what Dr. Amanor mentioned about Brahmi, etc. So through our other center of excellences like IISc or ILBS, we are actually working on looking at mechanistic aspects of our therapeutics and formulations. So different herbs, different therapies like Panchakarma therapy, Virechan Chikitsa. So ILBS has recently finished a couple of studies, you know, with the help of ILBS. It is on volunteers, the mechanism of action of Virechana, how Virechana works. We found that these therapies actually corrects the dysbiosis of our microbiome, and that way it has a great impact on inflammations. And we all know that inflammations are the root cause of so many disorders. That way it helps into neurodegenerative disorders. So I'm just citing some example, lot more is happening. So there is a lot of convergence. Another thing that about cancer, we have a lot of studies already, what Patwardhanji mentioned. Couple of studies I want to cite is one is with AIIMS Delhi. We did an adjuvant in breast cancer patients on 250 patients, and we saw three inferences, three outcomes. One is the quality of life is improved. Another is bioavailability of chemotherapeutic drugs is increased, and third is side effects are reduced. So, and then similar observation we did with TMC, Tata Memorial. So a lot of such things are happening actually. I just wanted to inform.
Thank you. We will take the rest of the questions later with this remark.
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, engineering, it just struck me that we have just started a new initiative with IIT Delhi, where IIT students are coming to Amrita School of Ayurveda for internships regularly and to create new innovative ideas, you know, bringing Ayurveda.
So I close here. I got the final signal from my friend Dr. Amitabh. But before I close, two statements for all of us. Right through the health technology session, first statement that we have learned is science plus society is innovation. Science which does not cater to societal need is not an innovation, it is theory. The second is speciality is not equal to technology. So we may be chemical engineers, molecular biologists, electronics, biophysics, across Ministry of Science and Technology, institutions, industrial zones like AMTZ, Kalam Institute, Ayush, we all are domain experts. We always make the mistake of converting technology into specialty. Our job is just the opposite. Can technology be platforms to be used by multiple specialties? So let's close this session by remembering science plus society is innovation, and speciality is not equal to technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jitendra, for facilitating the panel and timely and encouraging the session. Now I request, and all the panel members, now I request Dr. Amit to give momentum to Dr. Jitendra Sharma. Now I request Dr. Ruchi to give momentum to Professor Patwardhan. Yes. Now I request Dr. Amit to give momentum to Dr. Ram Manohar. I think now we can have those who are remaining, we can have a photo with all audience. Those who are interested, they can join with our panelists.